Let's explore a second line day. Hello, we are in gate 27, the gate of caring and nourishment, and we are looking today at the second line of self-sufficiency. So in this second line of self-sufficiency, we find people who automatically care for themselves. The second line is just getting on with it. They don't want to be bothered by anybody else. They don't really want anyone else to care for them particularly, and they don't especially want to care for anybody else. They're really just very happy running around their house or being in their room, and they're not looking to care for anything. They don't really even know that they're caring for themselves. They're just living their lives, and caring, because they have this self-sufficiency within them, is just part of how it expresses. Lifetime learning is the obvious law that to give, one must have. We're told by Ra in this gate to remember that the tribe only has one voice. And this is part of tribal circuitry. It's called the defense circuit, where we find the gate 27. So it's a minor circuit within tribal circuitry. And the only way it can express is through gate 45. And it's a voice that says, I have or I don't have. So the tribe is about possession. It's very materialistic. And ultimately, it is about our material potential in life. Because if we've got the right resources, if we are materially stable, then we can take care of ourselves. We can take care of our tribe. The lifetime learning here, it indicates that it's a long process to develop the obvious law that in order to give, one must have. Having comes first, and then one can support others. We build up an abundance for ourselves, and then we have enough to share. The exaltation says the mother, the great nourisher, the strength to nourish and the power to care. But this is a second line. It's not going to be somebody who automatically knows that they can nourish and nurture. They might find out that they can when somebody calls them out for it, but it's not obvious to them. And in the detriment, we have the child depleting the resources of others, weakness that can sap the strength and power of others. So this is the second line who's actually really ill-equipped for caring for themselves or for anybody else. And so what they end up doing is latching on to somebody, possibly becoming deeply dependent in the process. And we could say this is how they're designed to be. It doesn't come with a morality or judgment here. As long as the dependency for them is correct, they enter into that relationship correctly, whatever it looks like, then it's going to be fine for them. All human experience is present within human design, either in the lines themselves as we go through them, or when we flip them around and do the or not. We find all of the human experience. When you look at it, it's really quite an extraordinary journey that we're on as we look through these gates and lines, as we go through this journey that the sun is making around the wheel. There's that word prejudice that Ra says creeps in so often. There are very often things that happen, not just the words, but there are experiences that we might be tempted to judge as not so palatable. Being dependent on someone else is definitely not as palatable as being independent. But these things are here, they're in the body graph. They are part of what we are here to experience. I think consciousness wants to experience everything, and it's doing it without any judgment. So caring involves some kind of a relationship, even when it's to ourselves, when we're in relationship to ourselves, with ourselves. Entering into relationships according to type, strategy, and authority is one of the most important experiments that we can commit to. It's the only one that we can really trust when we enter into it in that way. And always remember that it doesn't mean we'll get the experience that we want or that we think we want, the caring that we think we really want, but we do get what we are designed for, what we are equipped to handle. Moving into gate 28, the gate of the game player, get a load of this name for a second line. It's called Shaking Hands with the Devil, and the lifetime learning is Distasteful Alliance. So the 28 wants to know life is of value. So if it's the devil that's calling you out, who comes knocking on your window, offering you something that really fires you up, really shows you the value of your life, well, it's possible that you will shake hands with that devil and say yes. The exaltation tells us that the means, however unsavory, are justified by the ends. Can this ground the caring of Gate 27 by being called out to care regardless of how that care actually manifests or how it expresses? Maybe life only has value when there is some caring involved, someone to care for, even if it is not apparent until you're called out to it somehow. Maybe we make some bargain with the devil in order to care for a particular person. What are your thoughts? Do you have a way that you would tease this out today? Is there some inspiration coming for you? If so, please drop a note in the comments below, and I would be very interested to read your thoughts on it. Venus is moving into gate 42 at 24 minutes past midnight. This is the gate of growth and increase, and is also the gate of endings, closing things off correctly in order that something new can come in. This is the cycle of life. We close things off, and in doing so, we find value in our lives. Closing things off correctly can be a very valuable part of our process. And the moon currently in gate 48, moving into gate 57 at 10:40, gate 32 at 21:56, and gate 50 at 9:08 tomorrow morning. So gate 57, we have the gate of intuitive clarity, with the ability to penetrate to the core of any situation in the moment and find clarity there. The theme here is the ability to attune to one's environment in order to protect one's physical well-being. These splenic gates are always about physical survival and health and well-being. We can learn to pay attention to our instinctual hunches. This is something we also get through the splenic center, and thus we can eliminate the fear of tomorrow, which is the fear that is held in this gate 57. Gate 32 brings us continuity, and this is the knowledge that also the only thing that endures is change. So it's quite an interesting sort of juxtaposition, really, to have the gate of continuity that tells us the only thing that endures is change. You wouldn't think those two things go together, really. But there is an innate ability here to recognize the things that have lasting value for the tribe, or for the tribe's material direction, at least. This ensures a continuity through a process of consistent change and transformation, whilst at the same time maintaining a stable core. The fear that goes along with this particular splenic gate is the fear of failure, failing one's tribe. And then we move into gate 50, where we find the gate of values. And this also related to continuity, in as much as this is the value of historical continuity, where traditional values will serve and enrich the present and the future. So this, again, splenic gate, of course, and it comes with an instinctive awareness to protect our values, to uphold those structures and laws, to guard the laws, really, guaranteeing that the family or the tribe or the community will continue to be well. And the fear here is the fear of responsibility. This is what comes through with those having the values and the laws, taking on all that responsibility. And so this is today's weather. Thank you for watching, and go gently, and I will see you tomorrow.